Hello, how are you? Yes, it's November. We have two public holidays in this month. What are they? Just a few days ago, it was Culture Day. So since it was Culture Day, we should have done something cultural. So what would be that something cultural for you to do? Of course, for me, I enjoy eating, therefore, I have to like cooking as well. So I made some little small things using chestnuts. Now, many people in this country, or in Japan, people say like marron, but marron is a French word. In English, we call them chestnuts. All right, and you know, a famous British children's song under a big chestnut tree, and they have something like a da 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 da, this kind of dance to it, and which is translated into Japanese. And I think many Japanese children are familiar with that British song as well. There's a chestnut song. Okay. What's the color of the chestnuts? Of course, they are beautiful brown, right? Something like cockroaches are that kind of color, and some shoes or some clothes are that kind of color as well. Okay, that is autumnal color per se, one of course. Now, today's words are hardship, gallant, perhaps data or data. Both are correct. Many Europeans would say data, but then many North Americans would say data. Okay, now hardship. For example, here are some example sentences. Let's say, okay, the firefighters had to face many hardships during the trainings as well as on their real jobs. Next another sentence. Okay, Abraham Lincoln was able to overcome a hardship after another. Do you know Abraham Lincoln? Yes, he was one of the US presidents. Another hardship, let's say, we sometimes have to face hardship to become better at something or to learn new things. Learning new things sometimes is not easy. So do you know now hardship means? It means something which is difficult to bear or to face, or some difficulties. That's hardship. Difficult or hard, so hardship. What was one that you faced such hardship or difficulty that you had to face and that you overcame? Do you remember? I think everybody experiences in their lives. Okay, now, next word, gallant. I remember back in California, a friend of mine bought a new automobile or a car called Gallant. And that was manufactured by, I believe, Mitsubishi company. It was gallant. Then I asked some Japanese people, do you know gallant? And they didn't know that. But they said gallant or something like that, or gallant. Well, perhaps gallant might be a French pronunciation, I think. But in English, the car was sold under the name Mitsubishi Gallant. So here are some example sentences. Okay. That pilot swore a gallant oath to save all the passengers on board. Next sentence. Okay. Let's say many knights used to fight in the contest to win the princess. Let's say in the Middle Ages. Now, the last sentence, let's say, are you always gallant enough to give up your seat to an old person on trains? Are you gallant or not on trains? What does that mean, gallant? Well, it means brave or showing the respect for, well, Middle Ages, that was for the women, but today for anybody. That's gallant manner. Okay, the last word is data or data. For example, okay, the data about the bank robbery were given to the police, so they can start investigation. Okay, or let's say my computer has too much data that I cannot afford to lose that, of course. Okay, another sentence. Okay, how much data do you need to solve this problem? Without data, it is almost impossible to solve some calculative problem, right? Okay, data means information or a fact. Okay, that's data or data, which is quite familiar today because we are using some kind of IT device, of course. Okay, so please try using gallant, data, hardship, and make some sentences. Now, today's idioms, I'm going to introduce you two of them. Let's say, one is to put out. For example, please put out your cigarette. Okay, out in that ashtray before entering the room, please. Another sentence, let's say, the firefighters worked very, very hard, but they were not able to put out the wildfires. And let too many acres of forest burn down. That's too bad. Another one. Be sure to put out the light before you leave this room, please, that kind of thing. What does it mean? Well, there's a word, extinguish. So firefighters usually work to extinguish the fire. It means to put out the fire. Please extinguish your cigarette. That's what they used to say on airplanes. But now all the airplanes are non-smoking. So such an announcement became history today. Or many people say also, turn off the light. But also you can say, put off the light. Means to extinguish the light. And also, please do not forget that after playing with the fireworks, please put out all the lights and make it sure those leftover fireworks are wet so that you're not going to start any fire later. Okay, another one is all of a sudden. All of a sudden, not all of a sudden, all of a sudden, all of a sudden. For example, all of a sudden, a big bear appeared at the door and we were not expecting anyone or anything. So that would be quite scary. All of a sudden, a big bear just appeared in front of you. What you gonna do? Although this kind of thing started to happen these days in where people live. Now, another sentence. All of a sudden, Mr. Jordanian got up and left the house with no explanation. So we feel like, oh, what is happening with him? What's wrong with him? Something like that. The last sentence, okay. All of a sudden, the smartphone rang, and within seconds, a big earthquake occurred. Isn't that scary? Means, all of a sudden means abruptly. You know, abruptly means without being ready, just happens, or without warning. But then the alarm that sometimes smartphones ring, that's kind of a warning. But then, of course, we do not have a warning of that warning. So it's just started to go, fear, and you get shocked. Because it was all of a sudden thing. Okay, so those two idioms for today, and 3 words: hardship, data, and gallant. Okay, let's be gallant, whatever we do. Take care of yourself. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.